Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics, your number one stop for all things politics, election results, election analysis, and much other things. And today we're just going to be going over the inauguration of President Donald Trump, an overview of the 2024 election. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. The major topics today are going to be the overview of the 2024 election. We have the inauguration of President Donald Trump. We also have a lot of the executive orders that he signed and also covering the TikTok ban as well. So we're going to get started over here. The 2024 United States presidential election held on November 5th was a historic and contentious event that resulted in former President Donald Trump defeating incumbent Vice President Kamala Harris. This victory marked Trump as the second president in U.S. history to serve non-consecutive terms following Grover Cleveland. So the candidates were Donald Trump, with J.D. Vance being his vice presidential pick, a U.S. senator from Ohio. On the Democratic ticket, you had Kamala Harris. She was the Democrat nominee after President Biden withdrew from the race in July of 2024. She selected Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, as her running mate. And this election was really interesting because, like I had been saying, I had expected Donald Trump to win for quite a while. The economy was not in great shape. Inflation was at an all-time high. You also had the political persecution of Donald Trump being a major issue on the campaign for President Biden and Kamala Harris because a majority or a large plurality of voters and a lot of polling found that the political prosecution or the indictments of Donald Trump were politically founded and weren't exactly founded in a sense of real justice. And so this kind of made the threat to democracy for the Democrats. That issue looked really bad for them at the end of the day. And so that really hurt their campaign in a lot of these like blue city areas. Hispanics definitely moved the most to the right out of any demographic that you've seen in quite a long time. And this is the first election in about almost 100 years where every single county that Donald Trump won or that the candidate who lost. So basically, this is the first election in a long time where the party who lost the election the previous time didn't lose any counties at all. Donald Trump retained every single county that he won from 2020 until now, which is historic because usually you'd get a couple counties, even in like a landslide year. Even Reagan lost counties that he won in 1980 to Walter Mondale. But that's not what happened. Donald Trump held on to every single county that he won in the previous election cycle. And what we're going to see here, play cut one, just pull up cut one really quick. What you're going to see on this map here, this is the election results from the 2024 election. And you can see Donald Trump flipped the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. And for historical standards, you have all these people on Twitter saying, oh, this wasn't a landslide for Donald Trump. Oh, this was such a, barely won the popular vote. Oh, he got less than 50%. But in reality, compared to 20 years ago, the country's way less white. There's a lot more African Americans, Hispanics, Asian Americans, even compared to just 20 years ago. Donald Trump is a candidate that's faced scrutiny like no other general nominee has before. Political indictments, 2 impeachments, being dragged through the media every single day of his political career. And not only did he win, he actually won convincingly and did better than his 2016 performance and still won the popular vote despite all odds. And the Democrats still had a pretty high turnout operation. Kamala Harris only did 6 million votes worse than Joe Biden. And so all these Democrats saying, oh, it was low turnout, we'll do better next time, is not really a good argument because she only got 6 million less. If you saw an election where, like, if Biden had only gotten like in the mid 60s, I would have said, okay, that's fine. They're probably going to do a lot better next time just because Biden was just so historically bad. But with Kamala Harris, they still did terrible despite her having decent turnout in the swing states. And a lot of people said, well, the swing states were still really, really close, even though some other states move right. Guys, it's because money's being spent in these states. A lot of campaign events are being held. And so when states face that kind of scrutiny, they shift less to the right in a year where like every single state shifted Republican except the first district of Nebraska. You're literally seeing a lot of these swing states where there was a lot of, campaign and media attention into, you're seeing them shift less Republican on average than some of the other states. It's funny because Arizona, Kamala Harris gave up on that state in like September or October. And funny enough, that was actually Trump's best state. If you want to actually go ahead and pull up the state of Arizona really quick, you can go, it's on the left right there towards the bottom right here, Arizona. So this was really interesting because if you actually go to Phoenix there, you'll actually see that Maricopa County, this is the big county that decided the election in Arizona. This has about 40% of the state's vote. Basically, whichever way Maricopa goes, the state will more than likely break. And not only did Donald Trump win it back, he won it back convincingly. I mean, back in 2020, Joe Biden won the county by about 2 points. And right now, he won it by a whopping 3 points. It was basically like the exact opposite margin, but an even wider margin than Joe Biden beat Donald Trump. And so because of this, Donald Trump actually performed way better in Arizona than most people did. A lot of people thought there was like an anti-Trump Republican vote in the state. But in reality, what actually fueled this win was Hispanic voters. And that's why states like Texas, if you want to go ahead and pull up Texas really quick, we could see that too. And this was crazy because if you see on the left, pull up shift from 2020, it's going to be on the left. Look at the southern border counties there. Those southern border counties have a lot of Hispanics that have been moving towards Donald Trump. And this is the area where the border wall is. And this shows that Donald Trump's strategy of appealing to voters that actually care about immigration as an issue worked for the GOP. The Democrats have this idea, Hispanic voters, actually, they don't like it when illegal immigrants are treated badly and all this kind of stuff. But in reality, they actually like a president or a candidate that's actually going to stand up for American citizens. Now, to caveat that, a lot of these voters in the southern border of Texas have been here for like 200 years. They identify more American than they do even per se, as their original, ethnicity. But if you actually want to pull up Florida, this is something really interesting. Miami, if you pull this up and click the shift from 2020 as well, and go to Miami-Dade, you'll see it all the way at the bottom right. 19-point shift towards Donald Trump from the last cycle. And he won it by 11 points, guys. I said he was going to win it by like 8 or 9, and he won it by a whopping 11 points this cycle. That's an insane shift. But again, this has to do with the Hispanic vote really moving in his favor. And if you actually want to go to the county right below Orlando, you're going to see it right there. Osceola County, 15-point shift, and Donald Trump actually won it. This is really interesting because you had a lot of Democrat operatives saying, Donald Trump with the Madison Square Garden rally and Puerto Rico is garbage and this and that. Oh my God, that's going to ruin his campaign. He's going to lose Florida. Not only did he win Florida by 13 points, which everybody should have expected because I did. And if you had been watching my channel, you knew he was going to win Florida easily. It wasn't even a state that was even that contested. But when you look at the state, if you look at the county, this county is the most Puerto Rican county in the entire country. And not only did it shift right by 15 points, Donald Trump flipped it into the Republican column for the first time in literally like decades. The county has gone that way. I think the last time that county actually ended up going into the Republican column was all the way back in 2004 when Bush won it by 5.5 points. So it's been a long time. And the county's gotten more Hispanic, and he still won it by a pretty decent amount against Kamala Harris. And so if you really zoom out of all this, so click the X, if you really just zoom out of all this and you look at the shifts, look at the Northeast. If you see all of that red all the way up there in the Northeast, all those arrows there that are really concentrated, that's all of the New Jersey and New York City area. Donald Trump had a very unique strength there this cycle. And Kamala Harris had a very bad Hispanic voter problem. That was her major issue this cycle. She had a major Hispanic voter problem that was only unique to her. Biden was going to do worse with everybody on the board. He probably actually would have done better with white voters. He just would have done a lot worse with Hispanics and blacks and all the other groups. But Kamala Harris herself has just a really bad track record with non-college whites and with Hispanic voters. That voter group for her is like electoral cancer. And one more thing before we move on. If you want to go to California, click the by winner all the way at the top first, and then click the state, and then click shift from 2020 again. If you're going to go ahead and do that, look at that county right there all the way at the bottom. All the way at the bottom. Imperial County, this is a 90% Hispanic county, guys. 90% Hispanic, and you have all these people on Twitter, oh my God, they're doomed. The Democrats are going to, keep expanding, a demographics or destiny or whatever they would say. Basically saying that they're going to dominate elections forever because the Hispanic vote is just going to get more blue. Well, if you look at that, not only did Donald Trump win this county, he shifted it 25 points from Joe Biden, who won it very convincingly. If you would have asked somebody, was Donald Trump going to flip this county? Everybody would have told you no, because it was such a massive win for Joe Biden the last cycle that everybody was just so convinced it wouldn't have flipped. Now, I suspected that a lot of the Hispanic areas would have shifted more Republican than some of the whiter areas, but nobody had this on their radar of Imperial County shifting 25 points to the right. So this is just to highlight that Hispanic voters this time around really came out for Trump. Biden won them by about 30-something points in 2020 nationwide. Harris only won them by 6, and that's the group that shifted to the right the most out of any group in the country. So that is a testament as to how much he really improved with that voter block and how that saved them big time in the general election. So click the X out, and we're going to be going ahead